going on, guys? Today I'm going to be doing a video on a top end replacement on a 2002 Kawasaki Kx125. This is going to be a two-part series. This first video is going to be top end removal, taking the cylinder off, the piston out. Then we're going to order some parts, and the second video is going to be me replacing everything. So to get started, we're going to remove the plastics, the seat, the gas tank, stuff like that. I'm not going to show that because if you can't remove plastic seats in a gas tank, you shouldn't be doing the top end on a bike anyway. So I'm going to skip through that, and then when I get down to the motor and the frame and everything, we'll get started from there. Okay, so now that we got all the plastics off, what you want to do from here is you want to drain the coolant. Now, to drain the coolant on this bike, it's the middle bolt right here. To find out which one it is on any other bike, just look at it. Usually there's a copper washer behind the drain bolt. So we're going to go ahead and loosen that. Now, no coolant should just dribble out at this point because the radiator cap is still on. So we're going to go ahead and crack this loose. Put your pain here. Now, no coolant shouldn't flow super fast out of this. It might dribble a little bit. A little bit of dribble. Once you loosen the cap, it's going to squirt out. So make sure you have a catch pan here to catch all the fluid. Let that drain out. Tip the bike over a little bit. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and put the bolt back in so you don't misplace it. Drip a little bit more. Okay, put that back in. Tighten it back down. These bolts don't take much torque to strip, so you don't want to go too tight on them. I'm going to go ahead and clean up this coolant that's spilled here. Okay, now that we got that all cleaned up, next step we're going to remove the exhaust. We're going to use an exhaust spring tool, an exhaust spring puller. If you don't have one of these, you could use a pair of pliers, a screwdriver with a notch cut out in it. Just go ahead and remove the springs. Doesn't take much. Just let them hang there. Okay. There. We're going to go ahead and remove the bolts for the expansion chamber. I believe they're 8mm on this bike. That one's a 10. Huh? There's a little rubber grommet over in here that connects the expansion chamber with the silencer. A lot of times we'll just slip right out. If not, just get a screwdriver. push it out here, just like that, slip right out. Put this to the side. Now normally here where your power valve is, be a gasket and a cover on this, but I've been doing a little bit of work on this bike. And usually there's the proper clip to hold this lever onto the power valve actuator. But again, I lost it, so I used a little safety clip, safety needle there. So you know how to pop that off. Slide that out. Okay. And next step, you want to remove this hose here, this coolant hose, off the head. That might be an 8mm nut. Let's see here. It's lucked out there. Go ahead, just pop that right off. Don't lose your clamp. Okay. Now, with this bike, I'm pretty sure we're going to have to take off the radiators also. So I'm going to get the proper tools for that and we'll be right back with you. Okay, so the next step here is we're going to loosen these radiator hose clamps. Remove the bolts for the radiator support, and then finally the bolts that actually hold the radiators on. We'll take the radiators right off. Just go ahead and loosen it up. Now with these middle ones, you only have to loosen one side, so it always stays attached on the other. So I'm going to go loosen the left radiator. Just loosen that one up. Driver in here. Loosen that clamp up. You got another one down here. Might be able to get that with the 8mm. Yep, loosen that clamp. Sometimes these hoses are stubborn. Just get a screwdriver in here. Be very careful because this is only cast. And it will break. So just run your screwdriver around there until it pops. Okay. Little coolant leak, no big deal. Just get a rag. Clean that up. Okay, so that's off. Now we're going to loosen the radiator support bracket. Put our bolt in our magnetic holder. Now, there's two bolts right here on either side of the radiator. Those are also 8mm. I might get an extension. And go ahead and just back those out. Now, the radiator shouldn't fall off because you still got the hoses attached to the other radiator. Now, same thing, you might need to stick your flathead in between these hoses while you're pulling gently on this radiator to get these out here. And here she comes. Just grab your overflow tube, pull that out, and then set this to the side. The other side's the same process. I'm going to go ahead and get that done and come back to you. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the motor head mount. Break those loose. socket here. Another 13. Go ahead and break these loose. I like to put them back together so you don't lose the nuts. Okay, now we're going to loosen the head bolts. These guys loose. If your head's never been off before, these might be a little tight. Crack them all loose. Okay. Go ahead and take the nuts off. Once you got all the nuts off, the head's ready to come off. Usually you can just grab either side and slowly work it up. You want to try to come off even. If it's stuck in one spot, you can give it a little tap. Sometimes the gaskets stick a little bit. But never ever put a screwdriver in between the head and the cylinder, because your head gasket will never seat properly again after that. Go ahead and remove the head. Get that last nut out. Not too bad. No detonation. Turn that off. This head looks pretty good. Okay, we'll get the proper tools ready and we'll be ready next to remove the cylinder. Okay, so what we want to do now is there's 4 nuts around each side of this corner, each corner of this cylinder. You want to break these loose. Always try to use the closed end of a wrench. If you use the open end, it can slip off and mess up your nut. So go ahead and put your closed end on there and break them loose. Now, don't forget to take your power valve actuator arm off. Just pop that right off, swing it out of the way. Again, see, that was actually pretty loose, you didn't have to do it. But just try to take this off as evenly as possible. Pulling straight up. If you have to, slowly pull the motor down so you got enough room to squeeze the piston out. Okay, she's out. Push that down. And we'll slide the cylinder right out. Cylinder doesn't look bad. There's a couple spots probably won't be able to see it on camera, but there's a groove warning where the ring stops. So I'm going to have to send this cylinder out to be replated. Some grit in here too. I'm going to send the cylinder out to be replated. No big deal, a couple $100. She'll be basically brand new when we get her back. Okay. We'll get ready to take the piston off next. What I like to do when I'm taking the piston off is take a rag, stuff the rag down around the rod, so when you take the ring out, the snap ring, it doesn't fall into your crankcase, and then you gotta split your cases, and then it's a whole big to do. So try the other side. This one's, yeah, there we go. We'll get it from this side. Get your tip of your screwdriver, put your finger over it, and pull out, and she'll come out. Right like that. Right there. Now you never want to reuse these. These are like $2 or $3 to replace. Don't ever reuse them. Don't be cheap. Throw them right in the garbage. Now you can take and push the wrist pin out from this side. Grab it. Grab your piston. She comes right out. Grab your wrist pin. Bearing. Right there. And that's basically it. Now you'd be ready to assemble if you had all the parts ready to go. But like I said earlier, I got a Wiseco piston on the way, standard bore, 54mm, and we're going to send the cylinder out to US Nicrom to be replated. So when we get it back, we'll upload the next video and be ready to go. See you guys next time. Peace.